So right now, while you guys get that stuff out, I'm just gonna, I am recording this in case you guys ever need to use this on Zoom. Just a reminder, I post these pretty much every day. Sometimes I get a day behind, but I go back and post them again later. All you have to do is when you go to your team, so you can see that this is your team. It's listed down here in general, and I always post, I always post everything we do that day. So on Friday, we started chapter 2, part 2. We just did the notes on page 24. There was no homework, and then I posted the YouTube video, and you just click it, and there's the day's lesson. So they're always there. Sometimes I'm a day behind, but if you're out for multiple days, just go there. Especially if you end up getting quarantined, you're out for 10 days. If you're gone for 10 days, you are going to get so confused by the time you come back. That's why I do post everything. You are always welcome to join the Zoom as well. If you join the Zoom, don't worry, I will not expect you to participate. If you just sit and listen, that's good enough for me. I will just probably ask, can you hear me, is all I'll ask. Besides that, you don't have to participate. So anyway, let's get started with what we were doing on Friday. So I want to start with just a quick, because we did all the notes. So in theory, we're ready to get started. But I have a feeling we need to look at this picture. Here is a picture of like 3 little islands. So we got 3 little islands, kind of like mountains, just sitting in the ocean. And remember, we're doing, anybody else not here on Friday? So we were drawing contour lines, which that were lines that connected areas of equal elevation. So basically on this map, somebody went out and measured just about everywhere. And you can see here, this line, this very bottom line, is 0 feet above the ocean. And that makes sense, right? Where your water hits the, right, like when you're standing on the beach, you're 0 feet above the water. So that's 0. That's why the baseline is always 0. Then this one's going up by 500. So the contour interval is 500 feet. That means each, they don't measure then the 1 foot, then the 2 foot, then the 3 foot. That would be too much. So then they went up 500 feet and drew a line everywhere on these mountains that were 500 feet above the ocean. Then they did it for the next 500, which is 1,000, all the way up till they got to the highest peak, which the highest line they could draw was the 3,500 line. So this is what it would look like if you looked at the mountain at like sideways. But then to get the map, if you look at it from the top, there we go. You can then see how they turn that 3-dimensional shape into a flat map. The bottom line, the outside line is a 0, the next line. So that means everywhere on this line, even though like it's only labeled down here, this up here is 500. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting very comfortable with these maps. And so if you could turn your maps or your packet to page 26, we're going to attempt this today. So here is how these maps start out. These maps start out with just a bunch of measurements. So if you were to read the directions down here, it says, assume the data was measured at the center of each number. So the dot is really like dead smack in the center of these numbers. We're going to highlight all the data points with the same value and then connect the dots. And then it tells you there's a contour interval of 10. What does that mean? Contour interval of 10. What you go up by, and I want you to write that. What you go up by. Meaning we would start at 0. The next line we would try to draw is the 10, then the 20, then the 30, then the 40, until you run out of lines. Now, quickly glancing around this map, are there any 0s? Are there any 10s? No. Are there any 20s? There's no 30s either. So we're going to start with 40s. Now, when I say 40, I don't mean 41. I don't mean 46. I mean flat out 4040. That's all I mean. We don't care about any others. So what I want you to do is grab a highlighter. And we're going to go ahead and highlight all the 40s. So you're going to go on a scavenger hunt or like a word search and highlight any 40s. Ha! Who lied to me and said there were 40s? Jake, why do I listen to you? Shouldn't listen. There is no 4040s. There are some 5050s though. 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. I'm probably missing a bunch. First row, 50. One, two, three, four, five. I've got 6 so far. Anybody find more than 6? 7. I found 7. Anybody? 8, 9. Okay, now I think I'm done. I think there's 9. You got 9? 6, 7, 8, 9. Jake, thanks for being a good sport. Now, once you found 9, I want you to cap your highlighter and don't touch it again. And I do want you to use a pencil. This is so easy just to make a wrong turn. And then you're going to have a huge messy thing in pen. And especially highlighter, do not highlight these. So now cover up your highlighters and grab a pencil. Does anybody need a pencil? Okay. So now we're going to connect these. But remember, guys, we had some rules from Friday. The first rule is that everywhere on the line is going to be 50. So if anywhere I draw a line could potentially be 50. So that's what I was saying. You have to be careful where you put the line to make sure a 50 would belong where you're going to draw the line. Here's what I mean. So to start, you can start wherever your little heart desires. I sometimes start where it's really easy, meaning there's 2 right next to each other. But let's just start on the left and go right. So we'll start here. And I have to get up to here. This is clear to say, I just go through here. But remember, everywhere on that line has to be 50. So if I was to look here, could that be 50? Meaning, here's 48, there's 55. Does 50 come in between those 2 numbers? Yeah, 48, 49, 50. So going up now to this one, I can again have to make sure I get there what I call safely. Putting a 50 only where a 50 belongs. Is it safe to go in between 49 and 55? Yes. Is it safe to go between the 47 and the 51? Yes. Now that we have this line drawn here, I want you to notice something. This 50 line is like a fence. Take a look at this corner. What do you notice about all of these numbers? They're all below 50. And what about these numbers? They're all above 50. So when we're drawing these lines, it's like we're drawing a fence. We don't want any of the 40s socializing with any of the 50s. Drawing a fence. You don't want them hanging out with each other. So the 40s on one side, the 50s on another. Now, then if you remember one of the other rules for drawing, and excuse all my messiness, remember they're always closed curves, even though the map might only show part of it. So now that I'm at the edge of this map, I have to connect it somewhere, or once it's at the edge, it's over. So I still have to get over here because I have to close the loop. As you could see, I could go up and over this 451 and in between here. But once you're at the edge of the map, you stop. You don't know how many numbers up here. There could be another, there could be a whole bunch of other numbers up here. So I don't know exactly when it's going to loop back. So once you're at the edge, you stop and you just look to see where it's safe to come back in. So here's a 50, here's a 51. There's no 50 in between 50 and 51, but here's a 51 and a 49. So there is a 50 right dead smack in the center of those two. Now I'm going to somehow get from here to this 50. Remember, drawing a fence. Everything on one side is bigger than 50, on the other side is less. So if I go in between this 49 and 51, and in between the 49 and the 56, I'm still safe. Less than 50 above the line, greater than 50 below. And then it's a safe shot right to this 50. How do I get up to that other 50? Where is it safe to draw a line? Yeah, Riley? What? Between what two numbers? How about that? Yeah, between 49 and 53. Perfect. And then it's safe to say I just go right there. I'm at the edge of the map again. So I'm just going to take a moment to double check that I did everything correctly. Everything above this line. Double check yours in case you drew your line in the wrong spot. Are all the numbers above your line less than 50? And everything directly below it greater than 50? Perfect. Now that we're at the edge of the map, we have to decide where is it safe to come back in. So take a look down. Everybody, don't shout anything out. You guys could look down the edge of this map, see where it's safe to bring 50 back in. There is somewhere, don't shout it out. So take a look down the edge of the map. Where is it safe to bring a 50 back in? If you know, raise your hand. So look through, where is it safe to bring a 50? Renee, where is it safe to bring a 50? 51, 48. Way down at the bottom. 48, 49, 50, 51. So a 50 would be somewhere down here. Now I got to get all the way over to this 50. Draw your fence. I'm going to let you guys try it first. That's why you have pencil. Draw your fence that separates everything less than 50 from everything greater than 50. You did it. Well, then if you think you did it and double check your work, go to the other edge. Go all the way. Not too bad, right? I'm trying to keep going. When I do this, I kind of go like slow and steady to see. Like I go, okay, all right, that's a good fence. I'm like, how do I get up and around? I got to go up. Here's where a whole bunch of you screwed up. You went under the 48. Got to go up over the 48. So if you just got to go bit by bit, it's okay. But like kind of look both ways as you're going, making the line. And I had a whole bunch of you keep going. Again, you want your lines. And the best thing when you're done, and you're like, okay, put my pencil down. Just double check. Everything down here is less than 50. Everything up here is greater than 50. What's our next step? Because that's it. Find the 60s. I feel like there was 13 last period. I have 13. That's what I found last time. Yeah, he doesn't want to follow my rules. He wants to do it on his own and screw it all up. Yes. So now when we connect these, we're connecting anything that's equal to 60. So now we're drawing a new fence. We're drawing a 60 fence. So everything on one side of this fence is going to be less than 60, and on the other side is going to be greater than 60. So you can start connecting where, like I said, wherever your heart desires. I'm going to start here at these two and go up and around, just like I did last time. That fence has to separate. We don't want anybody in their 50s hanging out with anybody in the 60s. So separate off the 50s from the 60s. I'm going to kind of let you guys go. We're going to hover. So if we get next to you, just deal with us while we look. Start somewhere. Start in 60. Put your pencil at 60. How do you get to the next step? Drop that system. Separate anybody in the 60s from anybody in the 60s. Lock off the 60s. Double check. Everything in here greater than 60. Could be looks like it's in. So maybe they don't want any 69, we don't want any 68. We don't want any 45. So we can't end it here. All right. So most of you had this part. Oh, that was supposed to go over. See, this is why you don't use pen. Go over that 62, down, go up and over that 60. Now, when you get here, you don't just stop because there's a whole bunch of empty space. You have to get from this 60 to this 60 or go off the edge of the map. And there's nowhere to go off the edge of the map. You go around like that. Again, I want to cut off these 60s from the 50s. There's no socializing between 50s and 60s. Go down and under this 50, between the 50 and the 61, because they can't hang. And then you had to go around the outside of that 61. Okay, we are running on time. We can't finish this one yet. I'm giving you homework. It's not the next page. Everybody turn to page 28. I think page 28 is easier than page 27, so that's why we're skipping it. Do this in pencil. Again, you're starting with the 10s. So you look for 0, then 10, then 20, then 30. This goes up to 110. Give it a whirl, but do it in pencil, please. I want to see some attempt at this. I'm assuming a bunch of you are still confused, but I want to see an attempt at least. Do you need to use the highlighter? No, but I do think that makes your life easier. So start there on page 28 for homework.